This is the Ourvoice 360 podcast, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. This podcast was created with you in mind. On Ourvoice 360, we'll give you inspiration, sports, business and leadership tips, Black history, and entertainment. This is a show built from our perspectives. So if you're ready to be entertained, inspired, laugh a little, be informed, and enlightened, tune in now to Ourvoice 360. Let's go! Hey everybody, and welcome to our show, Ourvoice 360, our perspectives, our way. I'm your man, Chad Bumgarner, 1/3 of the trio here. I have with me my man, Pete Hunt.
What's good, family?
And my man, Mike Brown, the Don Dada.
Blessings.
And with that, let's go ahead and get into it.
And as always, the show is sponsored by Elect Graphics and Photography. Allow your visions to become reality. And CDB Consulting. Great leadership equals great results. How are you leading? And if you would like to be a sponsor for the Ourvoice 360 podcast, please don't hesitate to send us an email at ourvoice360@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Mike, as you always do every week,
yes, sir.
Hit us with some of that great inspiration, man.
Come on with it. Come on.
All right, today's inspiration. I just want to say that what I'm going to say, I'm speaking from the heart and my point of view. Learn to be your own best cheerleader. Don't wait on somebody else's solidification to force you to do the right things in life.
You're not finna come in here with them SAT words. What
Yes,
you
I am. Solidification. Yes, sir. Like anything that you choose to do in life, on the positive tip, do it for you, not for somebody else. You know, a lot of people go and they choose to lose weight or stop doing this or stop doing that for the approval of someone else.
Right.
But when that person walks out of your life, they'll want your reason for making that change. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I used to drink. I stopped drinking in 1997. That was 23 years ago. And I tried to stop for everybody. But it never worked until I stopped for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, man, you know, whatever you do, learn to be your best cheerleader, man. Don't wait on somebody else to say you can do it. You say you can do it. And do it.
I agree with you, Mike, and I really feel like this younger generation is the model of that. They don't wait around to be cheered on or accepted. They do what they feel like they need to do, and I think that's one of the things that some of us can even learn from them. You know, a lot of times we feel like we have to be accepted or approved or have approval from society or even family members for that matter. But like you said, you know, learn to be your own cheerleader. If you're doing something successful for yourself, regardless of what it is, you know, learn to encourage yourself. It's almost like when David in the Bible was on the run from Saul, I believe it was, and he was in the cave and he was worried and he was scared, but he had to encourage himself. When he had nobody else to encourage him, you know, to move on. You know, that's a perfect example. Learn how to encourage, or like what you said, cheerlead. Be a cheerleader for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. If you don't love you, if you don't celebrate you, if you don't encourage you, who else will?
Exactly.
You can't depend on that. I agree with you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and for me, I got that from home. I got that from Forrest and Priscilla, you know, being the only child.
Yeah.
They pretty much was like, look, man, you got to do for you. You got to do for self. You can't worry about what your friends think or your so-called friends think or other family members, this, that, and the third. You got to do for self. And if you're not on the level, or if you don't feel comfortable doing something, then don't do it.
Exactly.
But by all means, if you feel that you're capable of doing something, don't wait on anybody else to tell you go do it, or like you said, Mike, cheer you on. You are your best friend.
That's right.
In a lot of cases.
That's right.
You know, and for some of us that look for outside approval from other people,
Exactly.
and sometimes to our detriment, because some of those people don't have our best interests at heart. So just like you said, Mike, you have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to, because like I said, Chad, you just said it. Nobody's gonna love you like you love you.
That's right.
I tell you.
That is so true. Well, Mike, I appreciate that inspiration, my brother. You always hit the home run with that, and you never disappoint, my brother. I appreciate that.
Sir.
Bless.
Now moving on, man. Sports brief.
Hey.
Pete, what's up with on sports brief, man?
Hey, man, got a couple things I want to talk to you guys about today. First of all, a report came out that the NCAA Division II and Division III are canceling all sports this year due to COVID-19 concerns, which to me is fantastic, because a lot of these schools are not allowing students on campus. So if regular students can't be on campus, why are we allowing these athletes to be on campus also? If it's too dangerous for regular students, don't you think it's dangerous for the athletes as well?
They still students.
Exactly. Supposedly.
Yeah.
So they
ask me the employees, but I digress. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So
I concur.
They chose to shut down their fall sports, like I said, for COVID concerns. And a great thing that's come out of this is that the NCAA has created a COVID hotline. Basically, you don't want to call it a snitch line, but basically a hotline for athletes and athletes to call in anonymously and say, okay, if something's not going right, they're not testing, they're not doing this, whatever school it may be, they can call in and let the NCAA know, and then the NCAA, of course, will go in and investigate. Also, another great thing is that if a player chooses to opt out of the season, if their conference is playing, if they opt out of the season, their scholarship can't be taken away from them. Their scholarship has to be honored, even though they do opt out of the season, whatever sport it is. If they opt out this fall, they have to. The school has to honor their scholarship. So they can't lose their scholarship because they opt out of COVID.
I like that, but I think that's going to be a fight, because I think the school is like, yo, we gave you the scholarship in regards to you performing a sport for us. But if you're not performing, why am I giving you that? I mean, I agree with the athletes. Let me be clear on that. But I think that piece is going to be a battle.
But I think on the flip side of that, if they do come at the student like that, that's going to be a bad look and a bad light shined on that school.
It is. And they may not come at them directly. It might be kind of subtle because they don't want that light. But you know what I'm saying? They have ways of.
Of course, because again, as I said before, a lot of people don't understand that 4-year scholarships or 5-year scholarships are not guaranteed. They're yearly contracts.
Yeah.
So they're yearly contracts. So a coach can say, okay, I can accept you back in, but guess what? It's a recruit I want from Georgia. So guess what? You the odd man out, or you the odd lady out. So we're going to take your scholarship. So like I said, Chad, there's ways that these coaches and these institutions can get around this new policy of the NCAA. I also learned in this article that I was reading about this, that the Power 5 schools, well, the NCAA, the big NCAA still hasn't decided if they're going to cancel fall sports or not. They have to August 21st. They made a pact between the three institutions that August 21st would be the deadline of if we're going to do fall sports or not. Mm-hmm. So Division II and Division and Division III has already said we're not going to have fall sports. Now it's NCAA's turn. They have till the 21st of August to figure out whether they're going to have fall sports or not. And I found out something very interesting, that even if the NCAA does get rid of cancels fall sports because of COVID, football can still have a championship series.
Huh?
Exactly. That's the look that I gave, because exactly the 10 conferences, FBS conferences, control the FBS championships.
Okay.
And not the NCAA. So if the NCAA cancels fall sports, if the 10 conferences agree to have a FBS championship or playoff, they can still have it. And as of right now,
how do you do that? Do you go based on the rankings of the previous year? How do you figure out who's going to play for the ship?
Now that I don't know. That okay. I guess that would be in between the conferences, how that would work. But as of right now, a report is out that the Power 5 conferences still may have, even like I said, even if the other 5 conferences decide they don't want to do it, excuse me, the Power 5 conferences are already in works of having a FBS championship series. So basically, they're going to try to have football regardless of whatever's going on. And you know, they can't lose that money in their minds. Forget the safety of the athletes. We can't lose this money. Somebody got to pay these coaches.
Right.
You know, and somebody got to keep, because football keeps these conferences afloat.
Yeah. Well, I want to bring up something, but I don't know if it's going to be one of your topics. So I'm trying to bite my tongue and just be patient.
But go ahead, bro.
The athletes from the Pac-10, how they come up with that? Okay.
Yeah. Now you good. But that's exactly what I was going to speak to next, was the Pac-10 players of the Pac-10 threatening to opt out because of COVID concerns, and they have and actually the Big Ten now, some big prominent Big Ten players has also joined this movement of players opting out, because guess what? They figured out they're the commodity. They have the power. Because guess what? If we opt out, there's no football. Yep. If we opt out, these coaches don't get these multi-million-dollar contracts. If we opt out, guess what?
Get those network deals.
Exactly. If we opt out, they have to come to us.
That's right.
They have to listen to us. And these young people are not playing. They are extremely serious. They have lawyered up. They have lawyers that's actually giving a free assistance. Look, you only have to pay us. We are on your side.
Let me be clear. I am so proud. I'm excited, and I'm so proud of these young men looking beyond themselves, and even looking at the sacrifice of walking away to the point where they're saying the schedule and the season comes through us.
Right.
And in order for that to happen, you guys, the schools, the AD, the coaches, y'all got to come to us and sit down and adhere to the contract that we have put forth. We need to sit down and talk about this, because you guys are thinking about money, contracts, exposure, boosters, etc. Nobody's thinking about our health.
Right.
We still, like I said last week, we still don't know the long-term effects of COVID-19. Should you survive it? We still don't know the long-term effects.
Yeah.
There's vaccines ramping up, talking about ready for production. I'm going to go on the record also on this and say I don't trust none of them. The average vaccine takes 3 to 5 years before it makes production. This one's coming in months. So I don't want to get too far off track, but I commend these young fellas for coming forward and realizing finally that we hold the power.
Yep.
We hold the power.
Exactly. Right.
And I like the fact that they valued their lives enough to say, you know what? Pump the brakes on this. Y'all need to sit down and talk to us. Because even though you had some kids out there saying that they would not mind going to be a lab rat, meaning I'll go ahead and play. If you have the majority that's saying no, you got to listen to the majority.
Mm-hmm.
You have no team without the majority. You have no season without the majority. So I commend these young guys, and I'm hoping that everything turns out right for these guys. And I'm gonna be probably really hated by saying this, but I really do hope that they shut down fall sports for the.
Oh, me too. Oh, I'm with you with that.
You know what I'm saying? I really
I'm
do,
with you with that.
It goes beyond the sport, and I know we want to see sports. I know this, but not to the detriment of these young people's lives. Because who knows? Every time a young person dies, you destroy generations of potential prominence of lawyers, doctors, astronauts, bus drivers, whatever. You just erase that. You gave them no opportunity to see what they could be, all because you want money.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, health is wealth.
That's right.
If I'm not healthy, I can't be productive. Whether it's football or just out here working at the factory, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. If I don't have my health, there's no way I can be productive for myself, or if I have a family, for my family. And like you said, Chad, I commend these young people because it's finally clicked. And some of the demands of both the Pac-12 and the Big Ten players that are threatening to opt out are racial injustice, unsafe conditions as far as with the COVID-19, and also financial compensation. Mm-hmm. And in Pac-10's case, they want a 50% revenue share. We want to split this thing 50-50. Since y'all making billions, can we get some of that?
That's right.
And so it's great to see these young people stand up for what they believe in and stand up for what's right. They stand up for what's right.
I agree.
And like I said, it's so big. It is just with the Division II and Division III opting out of the fall sports, it just really seems it's going to be really hard for the NCAA to play fall sports.
Yeah, it's putting a lot of pressure on them.
It's putting a lot of pressure on them, even though they've said that, you know, at least the Power 5 conferences have said except for the ACC, the other 4 Power 5 conferences are going 10-game schedules, 10-game in-conference schedules. So they won't be playing games outside of the conference. So they'll be playing conference opponents. Now, the ACC is different. They're allowing 1 out-of-conference game, which will give them 11 games. They're having 1 out-of-conference game. So even like the Power 5 conferences are like, okay, we're trying to do the bare minimum so we can play. Mm-hmm. And that's how desperate they are right now, because a couple of conferences, major conferences, has already bowed out. We're not playing at all. our conference we're not even going to attempt to play. Mm-hmm. And I think until we know what COVID does, especially for asymptomatic people, we know what it does for people who have symptoms.
Right.
But for those asymptomatic people, if you look at the baseball player we found out last week who can no longer play baseball, major leaguer, top prospect, got COVID. COVID's gone, but the COVID enlarged his heart. So now he can't pitch anymore because he has an enlarged heart due from COVID. That was one, because, you know, COVID attacks the lungs and the heart. Mm-hmm. That's what it attacks. So now he has an enlarged heart, and it looks like he'll never be able to play again as of right now. That's one of the side effects of COVID. Okay, we find that. Okay, so now put this on a football field where you have 80 guys on a field, 80 guys from each team, and say one person gets it, and then you spread it through 2 teams, and those guys don't know it. Then you find out 2 weeks later they'd have played 2 other teams.
Not only that, they don't went home to their families and friends or went out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, in this uncertain time, the money doesn't matter, in my humble opinion. Mm-hmm. But to those universities, to those conferences, it matters to them. The money matters because their conference and their schools are built on the backs of football.
Yeah,
They dependent on.
Yeah, they depend on it unless you have a school with a healthy endowment.
Not only that, but if you use the bubble method like the NBA, it seems like that's working perfectly. There are some sacrifices, but it appears to be quite successful thus far.
Yeah. So, but in that situation, as far as the bubble, I'm not sure if it could work for the NCAA. It's so many schools and so much traveling and so much. The bubble, they're encompassed in one area. They're in Orlando in one spot.
Right.
That bubble is going to be hard for especially college athletics, especially football. You have so many guys playing, and you travel. You're traveling. There's no place big enough to hold the NCAA in a bubble. Too many schools. Now, if certain conferences want to do that's one thing, but there's no way that you could do that unless you have a conference says, okay, we're going to have, say the SEC says, we're going to have everything at Alabama, or we're going to have everything at Georgia, or the ACC says we're going to have everything in Chapel Hill, or we're going to have everything in Syracuse or Duke or wherever. That's still hard because it's still going to be hard because you have 85 players. There's not enough hotel space.
Right.
For that.
You'd have to have a small city in order to do something like that.
Basically, especially in football. So the NBA is a special case.
It is.
And plus, the NBA has money to throw behind it. I'm not sure the NCAA is willing to spend that much money for their product, especially when they're getting free labor.
Yes, sir.
Especially if they're getting free labor. So I'm just happy for the Division II and Division III of the NCAA, the decision that they made in canceling fall sports, and also the Pac-12 players and the Big Ten players for standing up and realizing their worth.
Yes, sir.
Realizing their worth. And move on to the last topic of today is about Chris Paul. Chris Paul is producing a docuseries on the struggles of HBCUs and recruiting in college basketball. If you've been watching the NBA in the bubble as of right now, you have noticed when Chris Paul enters the arena, he is wearing HBCU clothing, paraphernalia, shorts. Yesterday, the game yesterday, he had on Howard. He was wearing Howard University. I mean, he's worn Clark Atlanta. He's worn A&T. He's
Alabama,
A&M. Yeah, he's worn Winston-Salem State, of course, which is, if you don't know, Chris Paul is from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And
I did not know that. I promise you. I did not know that. Okay.
Chad, are you telling me you didn't know Chris Paul from Winston?
I promise you I did.
Wow.
I'm not a huge NBA person. I'm more football, but I follow somewhat. But I had no idea he was Salem.
Yeah. I mean, literally, Winston-Salem State is literally in his backyard. I mean, like 2-3 blocks away. And he was saying the struggles of HBCU's basketball programs getting high level recruits. And he even tells his own story that, having Winston-Salem State literally in his backyard, he never even thought about going to Winston-Salem State. Never even thought about it. It never even crossed his mind going to a HBCU. Because he ended up going to Wake Forest, of course.
I was about to say, honestly, I understand that. I do. But for an odd reason, I understand it because when we watch TV, even as youngsters, images are powerful. Images are powerful. When you see UNC Chapel Hill playing Virginia or Duke or Florida State or Oklahoma, you don't think for 1 second about HBCU because we don't see them.
Exactly.
And as long as we're not represented, especially to the, like you said, to the young people growing up, you're not gonna know about it unless somebody tells you about an HBCU.
Yeah, it's basically what he was saying was that he has to put a light on, the HBC community. And even in the article that I read, speaking about this, he was saying all the people that graduated college in his family graduated from an HBCU except for him. father, grandfather, brother, all graduated from HBCUs. He was the only one not to go to a HBCU. So he said he felt a responsibility to not only HBCUs, but the Black community, to highlight not only the struggles, but the good things of HBCUs and what HBCUs bring. And as of right now in the bubble, he's wearing, every time he plays, his shoes represent HBCUs. It was the first shoe he played in was A&T. He played in Howard. Howard, his Jordan, the Chris Paul Jordans had A&T on them. North Carolina A&T. Yesterday he played in Howard. Chris Paul. So I mean, everything that he's doing in the bubble right now is to emphasize historically Black colleges and universities, which I feel is a fantastic gesture from Chris Paul. Because like he said, he grew up with a HBCU in his backyard, and he never, when being recruited, he never even thought about going to a HBCU. And now you have some young Black basketball players now that are like Mikey Williams, who's the #1 overall recruit in the 2021 class. I think it's 2021 class, that right now he's really considering going to a HBCU seriously. You know, if you follow his social media here lately, everything that he's talking about is HBCU, especially like North Carolina Central. He is, for whatever reason, North Carolina Central is really big on his list. But I'm super proud of Chris Paul doing this for the HBCU community, because it's just a wonderful thing. And like you said, Chad, when we were growing up, we saw all the big schools. We never, I mean, unless it was something that we were focused in as far as educational wise, that's why most people would go to a HBCU. You know, or you know, my whole plan growing up was to go to A&T or to go to Howard or go to Clark Atlanta or Alabama A&M. That was, as growing up, you know, that's all our parents or family members went to those schools. And you know, influenced us that way. But from the sports side, there's no vision unless it's the NCAA tournament or something, and an HBC or North Carolina Central gets in, or A&T gets into the NCAA tournament. That's the only time we ever hear about HBCUs athletically. So this is great of Chris Paul to do this.
When does the documentary air, or is it out already?
No, it's not out yet. I think they're gonna it's gonna go through this season, and they're gonna have it next year. It's gonna be available for next year, because they're gonna go through the 2021 season. If they have sports, and if they don't have sports, it may be backed up to the 21-22 season. So they just want to focus on the focus is the 2020 and 2021 season. So it won't be out until sometime next year. But again, I commend Chris Paul on this.
Indeed.
Well, Chad, what you got on your end, brother?
Oh, okay, it's my what? I'm up next. Okay. Thank you, brother. And I'd like to welcome everyone to this week's edition of Chad's Leadership Corner, where you get tips and insight on business and leadership. So with that, let's go ahead and get right on into it. We're going to talk about the business aspect right now. Now, this is pretty interesting to me. Ex-lawyer launches the first Black-owned stock exchange in U.S. history.
I saw that.
Yeah. When we talk about white privilege and systemic racism, one of the things that always comes up is generational wealth. It's a thing. It's one thing. Now, let me back up. It's a thing white people disproportionately benefit from, and a thing that is virtually non-existent for Black people. As history has shown us far more instances of Black wealth being sabotaged, Black Wall Street,
yeah,
than instances where it's been nurtured and encouraged. Okay, one former lawyer has taken steps toward rectifying this disparity by launching the first Black-owned stock exchange in U.S. history. In an interview with Black Enterprise, former attorney Joe Sakala discussed the Dream Exchange, a stock exchange he founded in partnership with Cadiz Capital Holding LLC, a minority-owned private equity firm. Now, according to the Dream Exchange website, the company focuses on small business capital formation and diversity using the power of American investing public. Now, this is the lawyer speaking, Joe Sakala, who formed this stock exchange. He goes to say, early in his legal career, he learned how stock exchanges hunt for liquidity because he was the lawyer for the founders of Archipelago, one of the first and biggest electronic stock exchanges in the world. Archipelago grew into what the world has come to know now as the New York Stock Exchange. Because of his experience in understanding formation of the world's greatest electronic stock exchange, he learned how stock exchange creates and controls liquidity in the markets. After years of research, he discovered that the structure of the U.S. capital markets and the current stock exchanges favor only the largest transactions with celebrity companies. Sakala continues, his research showed that prior to Archipelago, the overwhelming majority of IPOs were 50 million and under. So by 2004, small capital IPOs had all but disappeared. And after years of working with minority businesses, he realized as well that minority businesses were nearly absent from all IPO and public company listings. So Sakala hopes that by launching the Dream Exchange, he's creating a space that will allow more people of color, specifically Black people, to get into investing as well as promote Black and minority-owned businesses to be invested in. The important, and this is him talking again because it's in quotes, the importance of a Black-owned stock exchange cannot be understated. Research from the SEC's IPO task force shows that 92% of all jobs are created after companies go public. In the 230-year history of stock exchanges in America, only one Black-owned firm has made it to the New York Stock Exchange, and there has never been a Black-owned stock exchange. Without access to public markets, any sector of society, absent, will most certainly suffer economically. So basically, he's saying if we don't have an opportunity to get into the stock market, we're going to suffer economically. We're going to suffer. This is the importance of having a channel for access to the public markets in America. It's a step towards bridging the racial wealth gap that they hope will be successful and benefit more Black entrepreneurs and Black-owned businesses in the future. So big ups to Joe for creating the Black-owned stock exchange, yes, sir. So folks like ourselves can get involved at this level at least and start learning and understanding how to participate and build not only our wealth, but potentially generational wealth for years to come. So moving on to the leadership aspect. Ask this one simple question to instantly improve your leadership, which most bosses are probably overlooking depending on how you answer the question. It may forever change how you lead others. Over the years, evidence has been documented that suggests that best leaders motivate, encourage, and inspire companies and cultures with, wait for it, love. Yeah, I said it, love. Sounds fluffy and off-putting, I understand. But to clarify and ease the awkwardness in the room, I speak of actionable and practical love, a verb, that raises the employee's experience to new heights. This kind of actionable love is demonstrated in how employees are treated and cared for by human-centered leaders. This goes back to the players and the coaches and the teams. Same difference. Same difference. So I'm going to say that again. This kind of actionable love is demonstrated in how employees are treated and cared for by human-centered leaders, which has been proven to improve performance and lead to better business outcomes. Plenty of successful companies worldwide are known for exhibiting cultures of love that profit. For example, Southwest Airlines, TDI Industries, Kind, K-I-N-D, and the Container Store, Nordstrom, and many, many others. I can go down the list. To seriously elevate your impact and influence as a leader, you have to remember that leadership is about service and making those around you better. I dare might add, this is what Michael Jordan finally learned when he started winning those 6 championships. When you make people around you better, you'll start winning. Right. So this is how love manifests itself as a business value and transforms organizations. To assess where you are against the high measure of a truly loving leader, there's one powerful question you need to ask yourself right now. The question every leader needs to ask themselves: what am I doing every day to improve the life of an employee in the workplace? What am I doing? That's what it comes down to. When you can exercise the leadership traits that result in trust and commitment and loyalty in your employees, when you can remove obstacles in their path and set them up for success, when you can give them work, when you can give their work meaning and purpose, you will be loving them as well. And I guarantee it, you will never again be seen in the same light. It will only get better from there. If you're not buying into this often misconstrued interpretation of love as being too soft a management approach, allow me to back it up against the leadership style of one of the greatest, toughest, and most revered sports icons of all time. And I quoted him last week, and I'm going to take part of that quote and bring it here today. It's from the legendary head coach of the Green Bay Packers, Vince Lombardi. And here's what Coach Lombardi had to say. I don't necessarily have to like my players and associates, but as their leader, I must love them. Love is loyalty. Love is teamwork. Love respects the dignity of the individual. For this is the strength of any organization. So your turn. How do you love your employees or coworkers? And what are you doing to improve their lives?
Man, that last part is huge. The statement by Vince Lombardi. They were bringing it back to sports. And we've all played sports. We played high school sports, this, that, and the third. And even as of I was watching the NBA yesterday, and they were discussing how two players on a team didn't like each other. They were talking about Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, which, Rudy Gobert really kind of started this thing with the COVID, playing around and touching stuff. And then, next thing you know, NBA is shut down, then all the sports is shut down. And first, Rudy Gobert, he tests positive, and he goes and touches Donovan Mitchell's gear and clothes. The next thing you know, Donovan Mitchell tests positive. So they ended up butting heads.
I would too.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell took that personally. Okay, dog, you play too much.
Right.
And they were saying, they had a very icy relationship to the point where they were seriously considering trading Rudy Gobert, 2-time defensive player of the year, a stalwart on that Utah Jazz team, because of the iciness between him and Donovan Mitchell after the COVID situation, him playing too much. And they were saying that now, it's kind of thawed a little bit, their relationship, but it's all about the court, on the court now. Basically what he was saying is, Donovan Mitchell doesn't have to love Rudy Gobert as long as we're getting it done on the court. You see what I'm saying? As long as I had that love for you on the court, that, I don't have to go to dinner with you after the game. I don't have to converse with you, outside of, the court. We can get this thing done, even if I don't, like you that much, even though I don't, but I have to respect you enough.
It takes a mature person to be able to compartmentalize, your feelings and thoughts and actions, and put them aside for the greater good of the team or the organization to get something. Right. Not everybody's in a place that can do that. And I truly commend those who are able to do that. That's really, that's really, really big. I think, and Pete, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think something similar back in the 90s, or I think it was the 90s or maybe early 80s, with Pippen and Jordan when they went to go get Rodman. They couldn't stand Rodman, right?
Right.
But they knew what Rodman brought to the table.
Exactly.
And it was like, we ain't got to go to dinner with him. We ain't got to like him.
Exactly.
But we know if we want to get back to the mountaintop, that's the missing piece that we need.
Yeah, when we get in between these lines, we know what he's gonna bring. And that like I said, Chad, it takes an adult to be able to, you know, set aside, you know, how I feel about you in the workplace, whether it's sports, whether it's at the factory, whether it's at the fire station, whatever. You know, we all have to do this together.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's one thing my parents, they always distilled in us. You know, it was always principles before personality. You know what I'm saying? Like, I may not, you know, like, especially when you have problems, especially like in the workplace, I may not agree with you. I may not do a lot of things with you, but for how many hours a day we together, you're my best friend.
And you know what? I don't want to take this off the cliff, and I'm trying to keep it on time here. But it just reminds me, because this is Our Voice 360, our perspective, our ways, okay? And we're talking about leading people and being smart enough to understand that even though I feel this way, or even though I feel this way, when it comes to this situation, I can put those aside to accomplish what we need to accomplish. And I think that's one of the things that hurts the Black community, because we are not at large mature enough to put certain feelings and things aside to focus on the main goal.
Yeah.
We could go so much further as a people, even as small businesses. No, I don't like that brother. I don't like that sister because of blah, 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 blah. But you got people on the other side of the spectrum that may hate each other, but they know that they each
support
bring
each other.
a certain element to the table. So if they combine for this project, you stand to make 1 billion. If we combine, we stand to make 1 billion. So I'm gonna put aside how I feel. You put aside how you feel. Let's put our talents together and get this billion split.
Get this money.
We can't do that for some reason. We let our ego, our feelings get in the way so much that we can't say, you know what? Even though we have a disdain for each other, let's put our feelings aside. Let's go get this 1 billion. Let's do this contract. Let's get this billion, split it. Then you can go your way and I can go mine. We can't even get that far. Why he got to be the CEO? Why he got to take the pictures? Why he got to
be the HOA?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Why I can't? And it just hurts, man. It hurts my heart to see that not enough of us are big enough to compartmentalize that and go after the bigger picture.
Yeah. That is definitely a problem in our community.
Yeah.
But you know what, Chad? I look at it as this. It was set up that way.
Yeah.
We had some help.
We had some help. We had some help on the distrust. When it comes to us, and I mean it's generational, 1619 type stuff.
Yeah.
That's generational. That was instilled in us from slavery.
Self-hate.
Self-hate from house folk to field folk. From light-skinned folk to dark-skinned folk.
Yeah.
Folk
good hair
to
bad hair.
There you go. Nappy hair and good hair. I mean, it's been put in us generationally, not to trust.
Right. Each other.
Yeah, each other. Because I mean, if you look at other cultures, there's a Chinatown in every city. Just about every city you go to.
Yeah, the hood too.
That's what I'm saying. There's a Latin community in just about every city you go to, where it's just, you know, Latins built it. You know what I'm saying? They have their stores and they recycling their dollars and all of that. I mean, just about every ethnic group has that, but us.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, and it's crazy, and I'm not throwing any race under the bus, and but yeah, we buy all the hair products, but we don't own a hair product store in the neighborhood. A whole nother nationality brings us something that they don't even use. We use it.
Yep.
But we can't combine our forces enough to, hey, let's order this ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know there's a lot of hair care products, like Just For Me, Dark and Lovely, that are not owned by African Americans? They're owned by L'Oreal.
Yeah.
Mistaken, they're owned by L'Oreal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, though, as a people, this what we must do. We do have people out here with small businesses that we should be supporting.
Yeah.
And that's on us. You know
without
what I'm saying? Without the hookup. Look, I saw something the other day. Something on Twitter. Somebody had mentioned that it was a young lady. She had a small business, and she said on Twitter, "Why is it that my people will go to Gucci and pay full?" Because she has a clothing line. Will go to Gucci and pay $700-800 for a pair of socks, but want to come to my place, come to my website, and then want to hook up. Yeah. Why is that? Why is that? And you can't blame her. I mean, you for saying that, because that's the truth.
It is.
That's the truth. And it's sad.
Then when you try to charge full price for your product because you know the worth, oh man, you too high. But hold on, you got some J's on your feet.
And Michael Jordan don't even own them.
Yeah, I mean, you got a Louis belt on. What?
Right. But I'm too high.
I can tell you, and that's just
like,
going
to Gucci and say, man, y'all too high.
That's, it is in my company, which is, the graphic design and photography. I get that a lot, and it's aggravating. And sometimes you just gotta let well enough go on about his business.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can't. A hookup does not pay your power bill or your overhead.
I'm telling you.
I mean,
that's true.
Because when it comes down to it, who is actually keeping your doors open?
Mm-hmm.
It ain't the hookups.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean,
and on a personal note with Mike, I came to Mike right before the pandemic because my wife and I was wanting to have some pictures taken with me and the granddaughter and stuff like that. I wouldn't dare ask Mike for a hookup. Mike, how much how much is it for X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
Mike was like, this is what I charge, and this is the packages that I have, this yada yada yada. Y'all think on it and let me know. And that was the conversation.
Yeah.
At no point did I even think about, hey Mike, look, we've been knowing each other since we was 12. Won't you hook me up? You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna cut me no. Why? Because that man has a business to run.
Yeah.
And it would be the same if I'd go to Chad and say, Chad, I need some leadership. I need some leadership tips. What's your hourly rate? I'm not going to say, Chad, we've been knowing each other since we was 3. I need to hook up on your hourly rate. Give me a hookup. We have to get out of the mindset that, just because we the same color, that we are owed something.
Yeah, right. That's
those businesses don't owe us nothing. You don't go to Walmart
and finagle them.
Exactly.
And then go to Sam's, and they owned by the same person.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't ask for the hookup then. Well, it boggles my mind that we as a people that that's our immediate go-to is, okay, if this brother or this sister owns this business, I expect them to lower their prices or for whatever reason, because we look alike, we share the same skin tone.
I'm gonna give you an example. Maybe it was 2 years ago. Had an individual call me about a wedding package. Gave her the number. Beautiful number. You know what I'm saying? I knew the number couldn't be beat. She said, hold on, let me think about it. So she went and called several other places. They gave her the real number. The one I'm trying to keep her from. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whereas I'm saying 1,000, 1,100. Everybody else is saying 4,500, 5,000. So she waits until the last minute to call me back and try to tell me. I was like, nah, the slot's taken.
Mm-hmm.
You took too long. But you wouldn't accept my offer or my bid until you wouldn't check with somebody who doesn't look like us, and they tell you a crazy ass number, excuse my language, They tell you a crazy number. Now you want to come back and try to negotiate with me. They don't work like that.
Mm-mm. After you've negotiated well under your what it should really be.
Yeah.
I've already given you the hookup without you asking me.
Yeah, I've already blessed you without you even seeing it. Because when you compare the prices, you know what I mean?
Right.
Now,
But,
look, I gave you the hookup personally.
Yeah.
That was on my accord. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wow, that's unreal. But that's the state of of what it is, and we have to, as a people, we have to break that curse because it's a curse.
Yeah,
it is.
It is a curse. We have to break that curse of lack of trust within one another, and that's a personal thing.
Oh yeah,
that's a personal thing on each one of us, and once we break that generational curse, the sky's the limit.
Oh yeah,
the sky is the limit. It's the limit, but we first have to break these generational curses that has been placed upon us as a people. That's been etched in our spirit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where it's in our cells, it's in our being.
It's in your DNA.
Exactly, it's in our DNA. That's how much this has been put into us, and we have to break these generational curses.
Well, gentlemen, I appreciate the insight on that, and I thank you for your wisdom and your knowledge on that. I really do. And that's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. If you would like any leadership development training, team building, or diversity training, please don't hesitate to contact me at 678-571-2773, or you can email me at chad@chadbumgarner.co. And remember, great leadership equals great results. How are you leading? Now, we going back to Mike. We doing this boomerang thing. We coming back around to Mike for this Black History. And I know he's got some pearls of wisdom on us for this Black History. Mike, come on, man.
Okay, so when you think of sports, there's certain sports that never cross your mind as to a Black group of people inventing.
Come on, hockey?
Yep. Did you know that?
I did, bro. That I knew. As soon as he said that, I said 1909, right?
Nah.
I was wrong.
Ice hockey was invented in 1815.
Woo!
By 4 Black families from Nova Scotia in Canada.
Wow.
The Courtney family, the Williams family, Monroe, and the Leal family played this game during the cold winters. And they said to have come from the Chesapeake, Virginia Bay area. And what it was is they invented the game because they were poor and needed something to do. So they would get sticks, old brooms, whatever, and hit something, not necessarily the puck, but something that would slide across the ice and be on different teams.
Well, my people.
And it even said that notably, white players dominate the sport today. And as wealthy whites embraced it, it ultimately excluded the poor Black Canadians that invented it. We also invented the game lacrosse. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yep. See, that's why I thought where he was going. I thought he was going to say lacrosse. So
okay.
I didn't. And then you said hockey. And then Mike was like, "Yeah," but I was going to say.
So you knew about lacrosse, and I knew about hockey.
Yeah, I was thinking in my mind lacrosse.
Wow.
It is also known that the Black hockey leagues existed before the National Hockey League, which began in 1917. That's when the NHL came into effect.
Okay.
The Black Hockey League was established 1895 and lasted till 1930. Eddie Martin of the Halifax Eureka was said to be the first player to perform the slap shot. And that's the hardest shot in hockey during a 1906 game. And yeah, I mean, I was amazed when I found all that out. I never knew. I never knew hockey was invented by poor Black people.
I did. I knew that. And when I came across, I had to read it. I did not know lacrosse. I did not. And you know, it's funny because black people kind of look down on lacrosse.
The only time I've seen,
I don't know why, because it's beautiful.
Yeah,
I love lacrosse. I love
Yeah.
lacrosse. I love lacrosse. I mean, I'll tell you a quick story. I always wanted to play lacrosse as a kid because I'm a Syracuse fan. So Syracuse has probably the most dominant lacrosse program in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at titles and, you know, big time players, Syracuse is the mark. And watching them like on ESPN and stuff, I always wanted to play lacrosse. But of course, Chad, Mike, where we stay, or where Mike, me and you still stay there, but Chad, you in the A now. Lacrosse is not available because we're in the South. You know,
I found out about lacrosse before we moved down here. We stayed in New York. That's when I found out about lacrosse.
And
it was Syracuse is actually what turned me on to it.
Yeah. So when I graduated in 1990, I always wanted to play lacrosse. Hickory High School didn't have a lacrosse because we're in the South. You know, that ain't what we do. We play football. We play basketball.
That's it.
Track.
I graduated in 1990. I'd be doggone if in 1991 Hickory High gets a lacrosse team. They get a lacrosse program in 1991. You want to talk about somebody heated? Woo! I was heated, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah. I always loved that sport. I always love, and still do to this day. When it's on, I'm watching.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Especially college lacrosse. I'm not really big on the Major League Lacrosse, MLL. I don't watch it that much. I do occasionally, but college lacrosse, when it's tournament time, shoot, sometimes I watch that over some NCAA tournament basketball.
Yeah, they going hard, bro.
I was about to put my ignorance on display because I sure enough was about to say, you know what? I noticed they don't have a professional lacrosse, but little do I know.
Yeah, I guess that you know, Mike. Sometimes when you're in the HOA, it kind of blinds you from.
It blinds you. You don't see all the things that are available.
I wouldn't expect this from you, Pete. Yeah, no.
Man, that man, like I said last week, man, our people are great, man.
Yeah,
our people are great, man. And like we were discussing last week, if our people knew a tenth of, first of all, where we come from and who we are, and then the things that we have discovered and invented and things of that sort, man, I'm telling you,
they have been ripped from our culture.
Yeah, exactly.
And renamed.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
But yeah, man, and that is my Black History moment for the segment.
Mike, always a pleasure, brother. You always bring the heat.
Got to.
I appreciate that. Well, folks, we have now come to the part of the show entitled "You Know How We Do," where you hear up-to-date news, about us in the entertainment industry as well as Black achievements overall. So with that, I shall go ahead and begin with the entertainment. Well, if you don't know, now you know. Tiffany Haddish confirms her relationship with Common. She is officially confirming that her and the rapper Common have been dating. The couple was last seen quarantined together.
Erica gonna get her.
And we're also spotted at Black Lives Matter protest in June. You said Erica Badu gonna get him.
Gonna get him. When you see Tiffany Haddish running around barking at the moon.
Oh my God.
Got him.
On and on and on and on.
She's lost 20 pounds since the relationship, and she feels
stressed
herself. I'm sorry?
Erica done stressed her out. Why she lost 20 pounds? You know, you can't eat when you're stressed out.
She's happier now knowing that she got somebody that cares about her and that really has her back. And then she often jokes about her and Common being twins because, of course, she shaved her head. So now they both, got bald heads. Now, apparently they became serious, or things got serious with her and Common after they partnered on a charity project toward the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, but they first met on the set of The Kitchen film they both starred in 2019. Now, they went on their first official date with this app called Bumble. I guess it's some kind of dating app or whatever. So, yeah, big ups to her and Common for, for the dating. I pray all goes well with them.
As long as they don't have an entanglement.
And on and on.
As long as they don't have an entanglement, they'll be all right.
My God.
Let me pause that real quick. Can we look at the lineup of Common? Serena, Badu, Angela Rye, now Tiffany Haddish. Okay, Common. Okay, all right then.
That's a nice little setup. That's a nice
paradigm shift.
I'm trying to tell you, Common on one right now. I tell you.
I'm not mad.
How you feel about it?
I'm not mad.
Hey.
But you know what? Brother. Moving on in the entertainment, we your boy KC Haley signed with P Music Group and relaunches a solo career. Now, KC Haley, best known as a member of the hit-making R&B groups JODECI and JoJo, oh Lord, has signed with P Music Group for management as he relaunches his solo career. I didn't even know he was solo.
I just saw a video by him on YouTube. It was a gospel video. I didn't check it out.
Yeah, that was his what's that? What they call it? Song or whatever. Yeah. He's slated to release new music later on in 2020. The Grammy Award nominated artist is being represented by Mark Siebel of ICM Partners for tour bookings. Some of us know, most of us may not, but he started his career as a youngster singing with his father's gospel group, Lil Cedric and the Haley Singers. Then eventually switching to R&B, he and his brother, Joel Haley, JoJo, teamed up with the Great Brothers, Devontae and Dalvin, to form JODECI in the early 90s. And then they signed to, of course, the legendary Uptown Records. The Harmonious Quartet recorded 3 platinum albums that spun off several R&B and pop hits, including Come and Talk to Me, Forever My Lady, Cry for You, Freaking You, and Freaking You was
what?
But splitting off as
what must I say? What must I do?
Oh my goodness! Every time I close my eyes, take a pill in the morning.
Yeah, I might have to go put some JODECI on that.
Boy, what you talking about?
So splitting off as a duo, KC and JoJo released their multi-platinum debut album, Love Always, in 1997. KC Haley initially went solo in 2006 with the debut album, My Book. He most recently collaborated with Keith Sweat on How Many Ways from Sweat's Playing for Keeps album, and No One Else from Snoop Dogg's critically acclaimed debut gospel album, Bible of Love, which is pretty dope. This is a special time in my career, and I am thrilled about signing with P Music Group, said Haley. Now is the right time to reintroduce myself to my fans, and I promise that they won't be disappointed in this new chapter. So big ups to KC. I hope it goes well for him. I know they've had some mishaps back in the years, but we're not looking backwards, we're looking forward. So God bless you, brother. I wish you nothing but success. I'm waiting for some more hits. I'm waiting for another a wedding anthem.
Yeah.
Did he say it was going to be gospel or R&B?
Did not say.
It didn't say. Okay.
I want to say it's probably going to be more towards gospel, but I don't quote me on it.
Okay.
Because like Mike said, that song he put out was a gospel feel to it. It was like an inspiring type song, so
okay,
he may be going that route.
That was to get his feet back wet.
Yeah. So now we're moving on to Black achievements. Check this out. Lauren Simmons, the only Black woman in the New York Stock Exchange. Working on Wall Street is challenging to say the least, but not for Lauren Simmons. She is the only 23-year-old equity trader for Rosenblatt Securities, the youngest and the only full-time female employee to hold that position at the New York Stock Exchange.
Wow.
She moved to New York after graduating from Kennesaw State University, which is in Georgia. Matter of fact, it's in Kennesaw, north Atlanta. The Georgia Peach had an intern, at a local clinical treatment center in college, while earning a BA in genetics with a minor in statistics.
Wow.
She heavy. She had planned to pursue a career in the medical field, but after realizing that medicine wasn't her passion, she started searching for opportunities in other industries. She started her role in March 2017, but says her employment was up to her passing the Series 19, the exam all floor brokers must pass to earn their badge. She said it was surreal. Simmons started applying to positions in finance because she loved numbers since high school and eventually got her current position at Rosenblatt Securities by applying to an open position on LinkedIn. And this is her talking. She said, the one thing I love about numbers and statistics, and one of the reasons I came to the New York Stock Exchange is because numbers are a universal language, she explained. Yep. When you put them on a board, it connects everyone, which is probably one of the reasons why the New York Stock Exchange is so iconic. When I see statistics that say 80% don't get through, I look at the 20%, she says. So when everyone kept saying it's a hard test, don't worry if you don't pass, for me, I needed to pass to prove to myself that I could do that. And she did just that. Lauren prepared for the exam in a month where others prepare for months and don't make it. This is significant because the exam is heavily based in financial principles and concepts. Despite her math background, Simmons had not studied finance in college and had to study really hard to prepare for the 19 exams. When she passed, it shocked everyone. She calmed her doubts about whether she could manage the role. It also proved to the men on the floor that she was equipped to work right alongside them. Simmons said the best advice that she could give anyone trying to prepare for a career on Wall Street, especially women, is not to limit themselves. And this is her talking again. Be uncomfortable and go after what you want. Apply for the job. You have no idea what lies behind the door. And if you don't get the job, it's okay. Apply for the next job and move forward. Don't let that be a stop in your career, your life, or whatever you want to do. I think it's important to just keep going.
Mm-hmm. Very well said.
Big ups to Lawrence Simmons. Looking that person in the face and saying, get out my way.
Yeah, exactly. But let me pause real quick. And I hate to be a person that nitpicks articles.
Yeah.
But why does she have to be a Georgia peach? That rubbed me the wrong. I don't know why it rubbed me the wrong way. Maybe because it's a sister.
And you think of the butt.
Why do we even go there? Why would we can't use her name? I'm sorry. I just had to mention.
I caught that.
Yeah, because that rubbed me the wrong. The Georgia peach. Okay, why we need to say that? But anyway, I digress.
I think it was put like that because this was an article written from a predominantly black website or magazine, and I want to say it was the author's flavor of writing, if you will.
Well, the author needs to be checked.
Yeah, that's wow. I mean, you know,
I can't really say for sure. I'm just trying to.
I'm sure somebody else would have been called any kind of peach or apple or whatever kind of fruit you want of the day. Yeah, that just rubbed me the wrong way. I apologize, but yeah, that just the Georgia peach. Hold on, that's a black woman right there we talking about.
Yes.
Okay, but all right then, Chad. You know, moving on.
Hey. In the famous words of the prophetess, I can't even think of their names.
No.
I can't even think of their names. Darn, I messed this one up. Who are the young prophetess who sang Supersonic?
Oh, that's JJ Fad.
JJ Fad. In the famous words.
I'm summoning a human.
Take a peach, take a plum, take a piece of bubble gum. No peach, no plum, no piece of Supersonic.
Oh my goodness!
All right, yes, sir. 1989, I think.
Yes, sir.
I think that was. Yeah.
Yes, sir. For y'all youngsters out there don't know who JJ Fad is, y'all look that up. That's your homework.
I see they trying to make a comeback. Last I checked on them, they were doing a GoFundMe trying to get people to help them fund for the next album. They trying to make a comeback. So
for real,
I'm dead serious.
Ain't nobody gonna fund them.
Not off of Supersonic.
No, I mean, bro,
that's the last
the third verse wasn't even a verse. She said, "I'm summon, I'm a human, I'm a semen, I'm a." She ain't said nothing.
Yeah, that's it. That's
it.
Yeah, that's it. That was it. All right.
You're right.
Evidently, things didn't work out good on the recording deal. They wouldn't have a GoFundMe page. Y'all broke. I mean,
ouch.
GoFundMe.
Y'all broke.
Lord have mercy.
Supersonic.
Jesus.
Bless him, Lord. I'm gonna start me a GoFundMe page.
For what, Mike? What we funding you for?
Man, I'm trying to get this. I just need $362,000. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah. I just want a Wraith. I want a Lambo. I want something.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I'm gonna sell T-shirts to get it too. Cause you know I make T-shirts. If y'all want a T-shirt, they $1,600 a piece.
Okay, Kanye.
They go good with the Yeezys.
All right, folks. Well, that's it for this segment. Progress is what you do. Achievement is a lifestyle.
Yes, sir.
How are you living? And now we're going to end this segment on a Bible thought or verse for the week. And I'm coming to you from 2 Corinthians, or as my grandmother would say, late grandmother, 2 Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 17. And it reads, "Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are new."
Yes, sir.
Any thoughts, comments, brothers, before we sign off?
My mom used to quote that same verse right before she put hands on me, you know. She said, all things are old are gonna come to pass. When I get through whooping that tail, it's gonna become new.
Right.
My whole train of thought changed after that, you know.
Right.
You became a new man after that.
Became a new creature, bro.
A new creature.
Oh, walk different, talk different.
Boy, something about them hands, buddy. Boy, something about them hands and that fire. Change your whole life around.
Yes, sir. You know what they say? Spin around, sport a child. I was not spared.
That makes two of them. No, I'm gonna be so bold to say that makes all three of us.
Yes, sir.
What you say? We not even gonna. That's another story for another podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast. Right there.
I know that's right.
To beat or not to beat that butt.
That is the question.
The thrashing.
Oh, it ain't no question.
Look, the thrashing of the young
not in our case anyway.
Yeah, ain't no question. Not in our case.
Ooh, Lord.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to this segment of Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our ways. That's our show for this week. Be sure and tune in next week. And until then, be safe, be blessed. We out.
You know what it is.
Blessings.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when a new show drops. Please rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. Also, if you'd like to advertise or become a sponsor, please send an email to ourvoice360@gmail.com with your inquiry. We'll connect with you as soon as possible in hopes of creating a great partnership. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. See you next week.